The Steel City of Newcastle has produced a long line of sporting legends in all fields. In fact, it's a nursery of Australian sport. They are proud of their city. They are proud of their sporting teams. The Knights in the Winfield Cup and the Falcons in the National Basketball League. Not even a recent earthquake in the city could shake that support. In fact, it's bonded the city folk even closer together. Brisbane is similar in many ways. It seems the 1982 Commonwealth Games and Expo in 1988 gave the northern capital a great sense of pride as well. They too are proud of their sporting champions, the Lewises, the Armstrongs and the Normans. In the Winfield Cup, the Broncos hold pride of place. In the NBL, it's the Bullets. So it's understandable when these two cities meet in sporting conflict, invariably it produces fireworks. And you can rest assured fireworks will be produced here tonight at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre at Boondall. The Brisbane Bullets matched up against the Newcastle Falcons. A very good evening and welcome to an action-packed stadium here for round 7 of the NBL Mitsubishi Challenge for 1992. And if you want to know just how important this game is, we've only got to look at the NBL ladder after 6 rounds. The Newcastle Falcons, lying in 5th spot, split their matches on the road last weekend. They won against Illawarra at the Snakes Pit, but lost in overtime at the Palace in Canberra. But for the Brisbane Bullets, well, they've now lost 4 in a row and lost a very important one at home last week against the Gold Coast Rollers. So tonight is certainly a very important match for both sides. Joining me in commentary will be Terry Kennedy and John Musgrave. Terry, you've been with the Bullets all week. Their preparation has been disrupted with even more injuries.
Fordo's been a very rough week for the Brisbane Bullets. 3 players have been unable to train all week. The biggest concern is over star American import Adrian Branch, who has a back injury and will come off the bench. Let's have a look at the starting lineup. Shane Hill in the guard position, along with Simon Curl, who comes back into the team after a 1-week suspension. And what a big night for young Blair Smith, the 20-year-old who makes his starting debut for Brisbane. Leroy Loggins back after missing 3 matches with an ankle injury, and Andre Moore in the centre position.
OK, well, that's how the Bullets line up now. John Musgrave, it's a very important match also for Newcastle because they're on a bit of a roll at the moment, 3-2 so far in 1992.
Yes, Newcastle, David, on a very big roll at the moment. I think at this early stage of the season, they have to be included as the biggest improvers. They were bottom of the ladder last season, and they're right up there in the top 8 at the moment, as you mentioned. And 2 big imports coming into the Newcastle lineup this year made a very big difference to their team. Everett Stevens starting off in the guard position, and Terry Dozier, one of the best defensive players in the competition. In the first 5 joining them is Al Green and Paul Kuiper, and Michael Johnson, ex-player from Brisbane, never played for the Brisbane Bullets, but went to high school here, and a long-time Newcastle Falcon now. But that's a very solid starting 5 for them, Dave.
OK, well, you make your way to the commentary box and enjoy the call. We're looking forward to all the action. It's a packed house, as I mentioned, here at the Entertainment Centre in Boondall. And tonight we're graced with the company of one of our zany network stars. Let's say good evening to Good Morning Australia's Tim Bailey.
G'day, Fordo, you legend. Out the front of the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. Great to be here. I tell you what, the Bullets, we all hope they can win today. I've got a butterfly in the stomach and I'm not even playing. Are the Bullets going to do it, Lester? Ask some punters. What do you think, the Bullets?
Yep, the Bullets.
Yeah, you're only here to look at their legs, I know that. How about you? Are the Bullets going to do the Falcons?
Definitely Bullets.
I think it could be the start of something beautiful for the Bullets tonight. What do you reckon?
Bullets all the way.
Oh, beaut. What do you think?
Bullets to the end.
Hello, who do you think's going to win the basketball game?
Newcastle for sure. Brisbane just can't win.
Who's going to win the game?
Oh, Bullets, of course.
Who's going to get home tonight, you reckon?
Yeah, Bullets by far.
What are you here to see?
The Bullets.
Are they going to win?
You bet.
We're in the queue to get one of the hottest tickets to the Bullets tonight. Do you think they can get home?
Sure can. Of course they will.
You wouldn't be wearing that cap otherwise, would you?
Of course I wouldn't.
Are you here to have a look at the basketball or have a go at the players?
Here for the basketball.
Fantastic. So are we. As I said, Fordo, butterflies building. It's going to be a beauty. Brisbane home by 4 points. A quick bounce pass back to you. Have a good call, mate.
Thanks very much, Tim, of Tim's very much a Sydney Kings fan, and we'll be talking to him at half-time. Well, during our coverage here on Network 10 in 1992, we are not out just to purely entertain you, but to educate you into this game of basketball. So now let's go straight back to the rule book.
Generally, charging occurs when body contact is caused by a player in possession of the ball as he pushes, runs or charges into an opponent, and contact occurs on the opponent's torso. Here, the defensive man had 2 feet on the ground, was facing the player and was first to that position on the court. Thus, he had established what is called the legal guarding position prior to the clash. The defensive player has been disadvantaged by the action, thus a charging foul against the offensive player.
Well, all set here now for the tip-off in this very exciting NBL match. Now let's join our commentators, John Musgrove and Terry Kennedy.
Thanks very much, Fordo, and what a bonus for fans are in for tonight. There are only 6 NBA players from America who play in the Mitsubishi Challenge this year, and 4 of them clash in this game. For Brisbane, it's Andre Moore and Adrian Branch, and Newcastle, with NBA experience, Terry Dozier and Everett Stevens. And it was Moore who got the tip-off for Brisbane. We're underway in this crucial match for both teams. Heel now, trying to work the ball around from Brisbane. They've got first use of the ball. They want to make it count. Heel for a 3-point shot. It goes down. What a way for Shane Heel to start this match.
Shane Heel has started most matches at Boondall hot this season, and that's something the Bullets need. They also need him to keep that scoring form throughout the game, but a good start for the Bullets.
Now Dozier tries to reply at the other end.
One of the men the Bullets are really going to have to watch. Everett Stevens and Terry Dozier have been in sensational form for the Falcons so far this season. Dozier not only for his defence but also for his offensive strength, as we saw.
Heel, can he tidy up? He gives Brisbane a 5-2 lead over the Newcastle Falcons. Number 31 is Dozier. Gets around Moore.
And a foul will be called there, Andre Moore. Just a fairly light foul, but a foul nonetheless. Andre Moore reaching in for that particular ball then. We watch it once again, you just see Andre, hands there on the side. Probably didn't affect him too much, but the contact's there. You're not allowed to touch players. Basically not allowed to touch them. Of course, in basketball, there is quite a bit of contact, but not too obvious like that.
Terry Dozier fails to make the shot from the free throw line. The Bullets 5, Newcastle Falcons 4. Simon Curl back into the fray after a week suspension. Heel again with his second shot of the night. Dozier brings the ball down court. Tried to find Kuiper. Young Blair Smith knocks it out of bounds. In 1991, these two teams did battle twice, with Brisbane winning up here at Boondall just by 1 point. That was an exciting encounter. And of course, the Newcastle Falcons got the money down on their home court by 10 points. So not much separates this side. And this is a very much improved Newcastle side in 1992, John.
Oh, very much improved. Tom Wiseman has got them working as a team unit. It started when they won the Reebok 3-on-3 competition well before the pre-season. A lot of spirit in this team, as you'll see throughout the night, and they're enjoying being on a winning run this early in the season as well.
Kuiper, strong work. Blair Smith under the basket, trying to make his presence felt.
I think Blair wants to become one of the hitmen of the league, because that was certainly not too subtle at all. He came right down on the top of Paul Kuiper. Paul Kuiper is no small man, let me tell you. A very big fellow, both tall and wide, and he really got stunned by Blair there.
Kuiper, way short on his first free throw attempt. He's shooting only 50% from the free throw line. He makes his second. Keeps his percentage intact. Smith over the top to Curl. As we said, back in the fray after a week's suspension. Last week saw Brisbane lose to the Gold Coast.
Bullets fans be happy to see Leroy Loggins out there just getting the feel of things again after missing 3 games. With the ball now and straight into scoring touch. That's the mercurial Leroy Loggins that Bullets fans here at Boondall have known for many, many years.
A very pleasing sign for the fans here at Boondall. Loggins making that shot. He got a huge round of applause as he came on court before the game. The fans really pinned their hopes in him. Now, Meanell Green, his first shot of the night, unsuccessful. Loggins brings it away. Stepping, showing no ill effects from that ankle injury he's been suffering. Curl now for 3. And Blair Smith flew high. Andre Moore grabbed the offensive rebound and put it away.
Well, one of the things that the Bullets have worked in spasms on recently has been their defence. They're pressuring full court defence at the moment. Leroy Loggins got the steal but had to flick it in out of bounds, and Al Green scores down the other end from it. But the Bullets pressuring that defence right up on the Falcons from the very start. They need to get that fire right from the beginning.
The Bullets 9, Newcastle Falcons 7. Now to Loggins, the famous number 30 singlet.
Very very composed side, Terry, the Newcastle Falcons this year. They're not panicking at all. You can see with the pressure defence on them, they're very aware of where everybody is on the court. They're playing very, very solid team basketball.
Andre Moore over the top. He makes it to give Brisbane an 11 points to 7 lead. Heads to head while the Bullets way in front there. 17 to the Newcastle Falcons 9. That will all be forgotten tonight. They started 0-all. It's just ancient history.
Andre Moore was going for the jam then. He got fouled on the way through and just put him off a little bit from lining that basket off. Watch it once again. You'd see Moore receiving a great little pass there. The alley-oop almost. He was just one step behind that. Flying through, got fouled, and that put him off for the dunk.
The first timeout of the night has been called with Brisbane leading by 4 points, and we'll take this opportunity to have a short break. Welcome back to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre with the Brisbane Bullets leading the Newcastle Falcons by 4 points. Andre Moore on the free throw line trying to extend that lead. Moore is shooting 79% from the free throw line this season. The big whoosh goes up from the crowd. He gets encouragement from his captain. He makes the second one, Andre Moore. That will do his confidence the world of good.
And Brian Curl would be very happy with that. He's made no secret of the fact that Brisbane's fortunes this year rely very heavily on the work that Andre Moore does, particularly his offensive end as well as his rebounding.
Al Green, Kuiper, can he tip it in? Yes, he can. David Fordham is an imposing figure, big Paul Kuiper.
He certainly is one of the biggest men in the NBL outside probably of Dean Uthoff, but I know when Blair Smith made that challenge on him, John Musgrove, probably some thoughts and memories of last year when Kuiper was a roller and that vicious charge on Brendan Joyce, which put him away with a broken wrist.
This probably wouldn't be too popular with the Boondall crowd. He did put, well and truly put Brendan Joyce out for a while, but Paul Kuiper plays it solid, plays it strong, and doesn't take too many backward steps from anybody.
Shane Hill racing in there to protest against the referee.
Yeah, a bit of a... watch it once again, you can see the play inside, but I think that was a little bit after the fact that Shane Hill got the fingers in beforehand.
And what a handy player to have coming off the bench for the Brisbane Bullets, number 24, Adrian Branch. A wealth of experience. 4 years he played in the NBA in America and chalked up 130 games. What a luxury to have him coming off the bench. Dozier shooting 72% from the free throw line so far in 1992. He makes the second one to take the Falcons along to 10. Brisbane Bullets 13. A controlled start by Brisbane so far. Branch with a lower back injury. We'll keep an eye on him throughout this game.
Well, there's a foul being called off the ball on Andre Moore, and didn't quite see what happened, but I think that Andre was moving a little bit in a screen situation or just trying to jockey for position under the court. The referee on the baseline has seen it and called it, so that'll mean a turnover, and the ball will go to the Newcastle Falcons.
Everett Stevens, an exciting guard from America, offloads to Paul Kuiper with a big jam. I get a feeling Kuiper enjoys playing against Brisbane. Moore tried to go under the basket. Good determined play by Andre Moore.
At this early stage of the game, Andre Moore looking a lot more aggressive than he has all season, certainly fired up, and he's going to the boards very, very strong. He's been inconsistent with his shooting form, but a couple of free throws looked as though he'd found his touch early on. See how he goes for this set of two. Or one rather, because the points counted. So that was the bonus, a three-point play out of it.
And I like the way he charged in after that free throw as well, John. Plenty of enthusiasm there by Andre Moore tonight. Everett Stevens, number 7 for Newcastle.
A great player. We've seen some great point guards in the league this year. Watching a great game with last night from Bobby Locke against the Gold Coast. Tonight out here with Everett Stevens will be another great exhibition.
Michael Johnson has been in sensational shooting form in recent weeks. One of the real big danger men for the Newcastle Falcons. Hill bumps the Bullets along to 18, the Newcastle Falcons 12. And An explosive start by Brisbane so far, who are in very good shooting form from the field. The big long pass to Branch, who was waiting under the basket. How easy was that for Brisbane?
See this extended defence once again, a 2-1-2 press, pushing the defence very, very deep to try and force a steal or a wayward pass to be picked up, but very easily broken at the moment by the Falcons too, being very composed.
Branch, how is the back? It looks okay from here. That's 4 points for Adrian Branch coming off the bench for the Brisbane Bullets. Doesn't look to be suffering too badly.
No, I was just trying to see what he was talking to. He was quite hyped up about all that.
We'll be back with all the action after this short break. The Bullets 22, Newcastle Walton. Welcome back to this Mitsubishi Challenge encounter between the Bullets and the Falcons. A vital game for both sides. And already the Bullets, with Captain Leroy Loggins out there, look a lot more composed side, David Fordham.
I think it's indicative of the fact that they won when he was there, they've lost 4 when he hasn't been there, and tonight they've started so confidently with 5 players already on the score sheet, and he just adds that composure to the side.
Well, I've always said the sign of a true champion is a man that can make the rest of the team look good, not just himself, and that's certainly something that can be said of Loggins.
Now Newcastle. The foul's being called on Adrian Branch. That's his first foul of the night.
Watch it once again, a bit of footwork in there, but definitely no position, and bodying up to the player. You really can't do that, although there was no hands in use there. You're also not allowed to go and shove your body in there to push him off or disadvantage the player.
Al Green on the free throw line really has been one of the great players of the NBL. He's 35 years of age, this man. He still has plenty of speed, and he's shooting 73% from the free throw line. He won the Most Valuable Player Award for Newcastle last season, and he also did that in 1982 for Adelaide. So a big achievement. Al Green, still one of the great players of the NBL. Everett Stevens. Branch now. Simon Curl screaming for the ball. Heel for a three-point shot. How good a touch is Shane Heel in tonight?
Shane Heel 2 from the three-point line, 75% so far from 80% from the field. He's got his shooting hand here tonight.
Terry Dozier from the baseline.
So is Dozier. He has such long arms, and he's got a real vertical leap. He just seems to go up like an elevator and get that shot over the top of people. Picked off by Everett Stevens. That's a steal and the dunk.
Everett Stevens showing you've got to stay on your toes when he's on the court. One of the great guards of the NBL this season, a newcomer to the competition, and has added a lot of flair to this Brisbane Bullets outfit as John Musgrove bumps the ball back into court for the Bullets.
First touch of Adam Ball in a long time.
Everett Stevens. Simon Curl has the job of looking after him tonight. Dozier. Branch stripped Dozier of the ball, and it's the Brisbane Bullets ball. A three-point ball game. Branch breaks away. Now Simon Curl, number 42. Branch organising things out there. Remember, he came off the bench. He's suffering from a back injury. Andre Moore gets around Pipe with a big reject from Terry Dozier.
Yeah, so that'll count the ball on the way down. You can't interfere with the ball while it's on its downward flight towards the bucket, and that's what happens. So if you do, the penalty for that is the 2 points will count, whether it was going anywhere near the basket or not. And interestingly, the Newcastle Falcons, one of the leading, or the leading team in block shots in the league so far this year, averaging 7 a game.
Loggins picks up the rebound. The outlet pass to Heel. Have a look at Branch. Takes Dozier out. Couldn't make the shot.
Well, no call there. I don't understand why that was. Maybe they thought Dozier was in that neutral territory under the basket, but there was definitely contact on Branch there. Dozier's come off worse for it. As Branch gets the steal back, he's going to have another go and interfered with by our Everett Stevens, rather. And this time they'll call the foul, and Branch will probably not go to the line, I wouldn't think. I don't think it was an intentional foul, but they'll take it from the side. But very surprising that no call was made last time down the court. You can see it in there. There's the contact. I don't think that Dozier was there first, or certainly a charge wasn't called, and he didn't look as though he was under the basket. So that one that got away from the refs.
Loggins now to Branch. Branch takes on Dozier again.
I'm just waiting for the call there, and called a holding foul. You saw in the notebook before the game the difference between charges and holding fouls. That time definitely a holding foul. You saw there that Dozier extended his body out and pushed into Adrian Branch then, and that's not allowed. The man must be in position first and must also go and have an upright position to get that charging foul.
Andre Moore thought about the shot. Now Loggins over the top. A touch wayward. Simon Curl looking for Andre Moore down the court. He flew high and puts it away. No, he can't. What good work by Adrian Branch. Plenty of contact happening out there. That time Loggins and Everett Stevens comes together. Already we've seen Branch taking on Dozier. What a battle that is to keep an eye on.
Just watching Andre Moore then, his shooting touch might have been out, but one thing that has improved this year under strength coach Ian King is his leap. He went right up to intercept that ball before, and I thought he could have jammed it.
A pass to nobody from Everett Stevens. With the Bullets out by 7 points. An impressive start by Brisbane. They look sharp.
Didn't quite read that one perfectly. Neil Turner coming onto the court, and he's one of the well, he's a very tall player, as you can see, and he's rather a handy player in the middle of the keyway for blocking shots. He has long arms as well, and again gets quite a bit of height, so watch him block a few shots tonight.
Johnny was chased by the Sydney Kings, and that just shows his worth. Al Green, can he get around Moore? Loggins, Moore with a big defensive rebound. Shane Heal will end up with this ball, and he'll fire off a three-point shot.
That was a long way out, that three-point shot, and it didn't miss by much either.
Now Al Green settles the play down. Newcastle Falcons. Everett Stevens. They trail by 7, Newcastle. Green back to Turner. Branch brings it away. Heel to Moore. Loggins, what a great shot by Loggins. Had his back to the basket, turned around and hooked it over the top.
Missed for the last couple of weeks. That little inspiration from Leroy Loggins. And look at him again, flying onto the floor then, doing everything he can to get this team in front.
Now Everett Stevens to Al Green.
And another return shot, two of the great masters out there, Al Green and Leroy Loggins. In fact, memory serves me, both of those played together. As we watch the replay again, Al Green coming out from underneath the basket, a little hooky around there. But Green and Loggins would have played together in West Adelaide in the early days of the league, so would be ex-teammates.
Averaging 15.6 points a game this season, Al Green. Over 7 rebounds as well and 3.6 assists. 33 minutes on the court. The key to this Newcastle Falcons outfit. Paul Reese on the court for Brisbane makes his presence felt straight away. Michael Johnson, number 5 with the ball. Offloads to Terry Dozier. Back to Johnson. Hasn't shot a lot so far tonight. He's one of the real danger shooters of the NBL. Everett Stevens trying to get around Curl. He does so, drives towards the basket and puts it down. 5-point ball game. The Bullets in front, 33-27. Branch calling for the ball, had to leap high and got around Dozier.
That was clever play from Branch. He waited to see what the defence was going to do. When that established position, found the gap between them, stepped through, and a nice little left-handed shot then.
For a man with a bad back, he already has 8 points in this first quarter. We're inside the final minute of the opening quarter. Michael Johnson inside to Al Green. Fakes. Now Dozier. And a big bumping duel between Dozier and Reese.
Yeah, Dozier calling for the foul. Felt that Paul Reese gave him some attention on the body as well.
Branch for 3.
Quite a bit of bumping going on inside. Reese and Turner going at it then as well.
Now Newcastle wanting to get one good quality shot away before quarter time. Who will take the shot? Everett Stevens is deadly, as well as Michael Johnson, who's out there. Plenty of options. Michael Johnson now with the ball. He'll have the shot. He narrows the gap to 4 points. 7 seconds remaining. Simon Curl with a 3-point shot. Johnson grabs the rebound. Stevens will have 1 second to get the shot away. It comes off the backboard. What an opening quarter it's been for the Brisbane Bullets, showing the initiative and grabbing it up by 35 points to the Newcastle Falcons 31. We'll be back with all the exciting action of the second quarter after this excited young spectator we have there, the McDonald's Junior cheer girl, Deborah Bowden. What a night for her, and what a night so far for the Brisbane Bullets fans, where they've seen probably one of the best opening displays so far this season from their team. They're up by 35 to the Falcons 31. It was a big scoring game, and the Newcastle Falcons have also been impressive.
Yeah, they have been, Terry, because they've had a very unimpressive away record over the last few years. In fact, they ended a 27-game losing streak on the road when they beat Geelong last year. But they've certainly looked a better side in 1992, and we'll talk about it a little later on, but there's a wealth of experience on this bench as far as coaching personnel is concerned. And as you remember, that this was one of the foundation sides of the NBL back in 1979. There's certainly a great history as far as the NBL is concerned.
The Bullets 37, Newcastle 31. As they take their trip down the court now, the Falcons.
Well, we cast back in history a little bit. They were talking about Al Green and Leroy Loggins playing together. They did, in fact, play together in 82 and 83 for the what were then the West Adelaide Bearcats, and joined in 83 by only one other player in the current Adelaide 36 roster, Mike Mackay. And interestingly, Channel 10 commentator David Spear in Adelaide also on that team.
Paul Reese grabs the rebound for Brisbane. The foul will be called and Reese will go to the line.
Foul called on Neil Turner.
Paul Reese, I imagine, a touch disappointed that Blair Smith got the starting spot ahead of him. But Reese has been a good contributor for Brisbane over the last 2 years.
Well, one of the things the Bullets can do this year is go to either a very mobile side or even a very tall side. Reese, of course, a very strong, solid player in the paint, but he lacks the mobility that Blair Smith has. And when Coach Curl wants to put a faster team out there, he can use Blair Smith. Doesn't lose much in the height department, but certainly gains an awful lot in the mobility. Whereas if you want a guy to get in there to rough it up or use a bit of strength, Paul Reese is the man.
Paul Reese was one of the rare shining lights of the disappointing 1991 for Brisbane Bullets. And it's the Bullets, the home side, who are out by 8 points. Newcastle looking to strike back through this man, Everett Stevens, stripped of the ball by Luke Gribble. Now Branch, over the top. Al Green flew high to grab the defensive rebound. Stevens gets another chance.
That's a great effort by Al Green to go and pull that ball in just inside the baseline and keep the Falcons' chances alive. And that's the result. Gets a three-pointer from Sean Dennis.
Reese now to Heel. Shane Heel thought about a three-pointer. He's found his way clear to the basket.
Shane Hill leading the scoring at the moment for the Brisbane Bullets with 12, starting off again very confidently.
A high-scoring game so far. Brisbane racking up 41 points. Newcastle Falcons 34.
Just looking at the scores there, one thing that Tom Wisman would be happy with is the fact that this Newcastle Falcon team can spread the scoring around. Have a lot of individuals out there that are very powerful offensive players, and they get the rest of the team involved as well. So it's very hard to play defense. You've got to go really man on man. You can't go and use too many double teams because someone will hurt you.
Shane Heal. Sure, he's glad to have his partner in crime back in the back court, Simon Curl. They've worked well together so far this season, this new combination. Now Gribble back to Branch. Inside to Simon Curl. He missed last week through suspension. He's making up for it tonight. He also probably needs the winning bonus because he got fined $600 as well, John.
I think you aptly described it. Partner in crime, both Heal and Curl this season, of course, facing the judiciary for misdemeanors anyway, if not crimes.
Everett Stevens back to Sean Dennis. Stripped of the ball by Heal. Al Green recovers. Can he get around Curl? No, he can't. He ran into a lot of traffic there.
Al Green, for one of the veterans of the league, hasn't lost any of his speed. Very quick little Kentucky spin then to get position. Just had the ball lodged a little bit loose, but he's still got the speed, still got the moves.
A host of matches going on in the Mitsubishi Challenge around the country. Let's check some. The Giants, North Melbourne 30 over the Canberra Cannons 21. A handy lead. The Giants there. Simon Curl for a big three-pointer here. Check the score here. Brisbane 46, Newcastle Falcons 34.
Simon Curl had the first one just to go and get the distance and the wind right, and he got that all figured out. The second one was straight through.
Someone's left a door open here. Another big match going on tonight between the Sydney Kings and the Perth Wildcats. The Kings, they're up by 26 points over the Wildcats 20. And don't forget, at half-time, you can catch all the first half highlights from that game, which is a crucial one. The Sydney Kings suffering their first loss of the season last week.
A crucial one for the Perth Wildcats. They've had a lot of injury worries. The champions from last year really looking to go and do it again this year, but they've had a slow start due to those injuries, and they'd be looking for this game. But look out for the Kings, playing very solidly 1992.
And at the moment, as the Falcons looking out, the walking wounded from Brisbane. Brisbane in front, 46-34. Sean Dennis. An important substitution, David Fordham.
Chris Steele's on the youngster from the Newcastle Falcons, and it's a history-making one for him tonight. Terry brings up his 100th NBL match.
Branch, number 24 now, to Heal. He's been in fine shooting form tonight, as has this man, Simon Curl. That was short. Gribble tried to tidy up. Terry Dozier grabbed the big rebound. In 1991, Terry Dozier was the defensive player of the year. Always doing a good job off the boards, and also does a lot of scoring. Number 11 there, Grant Kruger. Comes as no big surprise, they call him Freddie, as his nickname, and he's one of the real tough men of the NBL. Another big game going on. The Adelaide 36ers 23 over the glamour side of the NBL. The Melbourne Magic, they're up by 31.
It'll be it's at the Clipsal powerhouse as well, when Adelaide, after a disastrous start for the season, looking to pick one up to get back in the winner's circle. They've lost 6 in a row, their worst losing streak ever, I believe. Not looking real good at the moment for them to go and snap out of it either.
It's a 10-point ball game at the moment. Shane Heal makes it 13 points. Brisbane Bullets up. Now there are some danger signs for the Newcastle Falcons.
Yeah, Heal hitting 3 from 4 from outside three-point range at 75% from that distance. That's a good percentage. In fact, that's an excellent percentage.
Everett Stevens. He tries his own three-point shot. It was short.
One of the real finds, I think, for the Bullets this season has been Luke Gribble. He's come out, we watch him here going and hustling for the ball. He's got a heart as big as his whole body, and you can see him getting in there, pushed a little bit by Dozier. I don't think he was trying to get involved there. I think he was trying to keep out of the road, but the foul's been called on him. But Gribble really has been inspirational, filling in a lot of minutes when Leroy Loggins was injured, and has been a great find coming up from Hobart, where he was diswanted this year.
Loggins back on court now for Brisbane. Coach Brian Curl was wary of starting with Loggins because of his 4-match loss because of an ankle injury. He's been forced to start with him, and now he's back on court. Brisbane up by 49 to Newcastle 36. A handy advantage. 13 points this early in a game is nothing, John.
I know, a long way to go, and basketball is a game of momentum. It goes in spasms, as we can see at the moment. The Brisbane Bullets out in open court where they like it. Branch just missing that one, but this Newcastle team wouldn't be where they are as Leroy Loggins, again, the follow-up man. This Newcastle team wouldn't be in their position in the top 8 if they didn't go and have a whole lot of heart and fire, and that's going to keep on going for the next 3 quarters of this game. Don't count them out yet by a long shot.
Michael Johnson with the ball now. One of the great shooters in the NBL. Grant Kruger, his shot won't go down. Terry Dozier tried hard. What about the block by Paul Reese? Give him some credit now. Adrian Branch stripped of the ball. Dennis came away with it. Michael Johnson.
He'll pick the foul up as well. Michael Johnson concentrating on the basket. Again, a good lesson for players. Don't go and get worried about the defense. Concentrate on the basket, and if the foul comes, it will. If not, you've got a clear open shot. Watch it once again. You can see Johnson's eyes on the basket, going through the correct motions for a layup. He gets both the 2 and the bonus from the free throw line.
And a timeout has been called with the Brisbane Bullets 51 leading the Newcastle Falcons 38.
Miss, we're at 75. Ball and back in the man. So still on our out-of-bounds. Mix up the offense. Let's run some more whites. Start low on that white. Go down low so you give yourself on the 2, Adrian. Go down so you can lead up so you give yourself some space out there. Right. Hey, Dre, you see what Kruger's doing out there when the ball's come to high post? He's just busting in like on our 2 play. Lay up pole side high. Don't let him get it down there. Right? So run at 2 next time down, Adrian, inside. Whites defensively all the time. Okay? Hey. Punish it with our offense. Passing that ball around. Move it. Look at a good shot. Get that cutter under there. Number 5 in the second and third time. Okay? 3-pointer, we're still in a white.
And what a magnificent sight it is here at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. A good crowd in here. There they are, the Brisbane Bullets at the moment holding a handy break over the Newcastle Falcons by 51 points to 38. Coach Brian Curl probably the happiest he's been for about 3 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit, but not too much. Brian knows that this is a long game, and that this Newcastle side, as we said, are performing very well this season. They've got a lot of offensive players out there that can light the scoreboard up very, very quickly. So I don't think he'll be too at ease.
Johnson, free throw line.
Team scoring averages there. The Bullets averaging 116.6 points per game to the Newcastle Falcons 116.2. So absolutely nothing between them. And it's pretty close at the moment. In fact, both teams at the moment shooting pretty much the same percentage, 50 to 52. Rebounding, maybe favouring the Bullets a little bit, 18 to 12. But fairly even game, although the scoreboard would indicate otherwise. So still think it's going to be a close one.
Terry Dozier on the line, a real danger man for the Newcastle Falcons. He shot 35 points against Canberra last week, and he's averaging 23 points a game and shooting 72% from the free throw line. His second shot goes down. And Newcastle narrow the gap. That's Peter Harvey, number 22 on court for the Newcastle Falcons. Loggins to Branch. Simon Curl. Loggins now. Moore, he tidies up. Good strong play from Andre Moore.
As we've said it before, it looks like Andre Moore has come to play tonight. He's got a real determined look on his face. He's hitting those boards very hard, and the touch starting to come in his offense. Michael Johnson, a man that is one of the best streak shooters in the land on his day. Michael Johnson at the moment, number 2 in three-point percentage in the league this year, averaging 47.6% from the three-point range. So you know that the guy is going to hit one in virtually every 2 from outside there.
Sean Dennis back to Johnson. Now Dennis drives towards the basket. Can't make the shot. Branch grabbed the rebound. Heel gets around Johnson with ease. Simon Curl appealing to the foul.
asking where did that truck come from. There's a bit of contact there, but let go.
Forward to Loggins. Loggins tries for 3. Piper fails to control the ball.
We've got a substitution. Everett Stevens back on the court.
He's got the match up. Simon, you got the start.
The Bullets 53, Newcastle 39. A host of entertainment, a lot of basketball left in this game. Still anyone's match, and at half-time we'll have highlights of the Perth Wildcats game, and we'll also have all the action from the NBA playoffs.
Well, there's good defensive position, and mentioned before, we watched it in the notebook at the beginning of the program, what a charge foul is. Here's another example. Adrian Branch to the spot first. Has to be there, doesn't necessarily have to be there for any period of time. A split second will do, as we can see there, and the contact then initiated by the offense. An offensive foul or a charge call. And Terry Dozier doesn't particularly like it, being given a rest at the moment, because there is a bit of foul problem there. 3 fouls on Dozier. They need him on the court.
And Brian Curl was saying before the game that he'd like to get Terry Dozier in foul trouble. It looks as though everything's going according to plan at the moment for the Brisbane Bullets coach, Adrian Branch, showing no ill effects from that bad back.
10 points, Adrian Branch.
That's 10 points for Adrian Branch. So that's a bonus for Brisbane. Hale finds Branch again. Loggins, there's 3 of them there. Simon Curl, Branch, and they all nearly had a go.
There's Neil Turner ending up with a foul there as Adrian Branch got the rebound, went up for the second shot. That'll help their rebounding statistics, if anything. But we watch it once again. You can see the shot from Curl's already gone through. Branch going up for it, and then she said almost everybody. Leroy didn't have a shot at it.
The Newcastle Falcons have called a timeout to get their thoughts together. We'll be back with all the second quarter action after this break. Coach Brian Curl there just stressing the importance of the Bullets keeping up their defensive pressure on the Newcastle Falcons and protecting their 55-39 lead. And David Fordham, the scoring's been shared around by the Bullets.
Yeah, Shane Hill with 15, Andre Moore with 13, and Adrian Branch with 10. And Terry Dozier is the only one to hit double figures for the Newcastle Falcons with 11. But it's been very well shared. Each one of the starting 5, with the exception of Blair Smith, is on the scoreboard.
Adrian Branch to add to his personal tally. Can he do it from the free throw line? He only turned up at 1 training session this week for the Bullets, suffering from that lower back injury. Every minute he spends on the court is a bonus for Brisbane. And I imagine a headache for Newcastle. Really has been the star of the NBL so far this season. A man who played for the LA Lakers in the NBA. Kuiper now, the big man flies over the top, tries for the second attempt and makes it.
Well, I swear that Shane Hill moved then. He was looking to the charge and he had position on Paul Kuiper, saw him coming at him, and I reckon he stood aside and said, you know, well, no, life's not worth that much.
An intelligent player, Shane Hill, both with the ball and without the ball. Simon Curl, Hill now, goes around Everett Stevens.
Well, that's one heck of an air ball. It missed everything except the side of the backboard. But I think he got a little bit of arm there to help elevate that.
Loggins will bring it in now. Andre Moore, number 41, who deputised when Loggins was out injured as captain for Brisbane. Loggins will try for 3. Down it goes.
I think for Leroy Loggins, one of the disappointing things of his injury was just before he was injured in the 2 games that the Bullets started, in the 1 game in 8 minutes he saw, he looked in very, very good shooting touch. It was all net from outside and could be starting to roll back into that form again. That shot hitting all net once again.
It hasn't hurt his shooting. Being out of the game for 4 matches, he already has 9 points and he's shooting 50% from the field. An incredible player, Leroy Loggins. And this Brisbane crowd get very excited whenever he has the ball. It's 18 points at the moment. Brisbane lead the Newcastle Falcons. Everett Stevens goes out of the game for the Falcons. Tom Wisman has his share of troubles. Shane Hill not happy about missing that free throw.
Decided that the wristband was a little too heavy.
Got to blame something. He makes the second one.
Second one went through.
Now we know the secret to free throw shooting.
See that extended defense from the Bullets once again. They got a steal a couple of possessions ago, but they're really pushing defense right up the court, and that's going and making it harder for the Falcons to get the ball down. Uses up some of the shot clock. Doesn't give them as much time to go and get off a good shot.
That's Leroy Logan's second foul of the night. Almost apologetic about it, Loggins.
With that foul, another 30-second clock. We say that quite a bit. As we watch the replay once again, you'd see Leroy trying to back away from the touch there. Each team gets 30 seconds when they get possession of the ball to put up a shot. You must put up a shot inside that 30 seconds. So when we're talking about the 30-second clock, that's why.
The tall man is Turner. Now Paul Kuiper, sandwiched in between Moore and Branch, still able to make the basket. They trail by 17 with 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Shane Hill back to Andre Moore. Kuiper on Moore, and Moore draws the foul.
One of the pleasing things of that move, then Andre Moore backed into Kuiper, but he went down to his right-hand side. He's a very, very strong player with the right hand. He likes going to the left. You see it once again and doing that little hooky over the top in the middle of the key. This time took the left-hand side, still went back to the right hand, but had better position on the backboard.
Andre Moore, his second free throw. It goes down, the big whoosh goes up from the crowd. Always a sure sign. Neil Turner to Dennis now, number 4. Sean Dennis goes down court, drives towards the basket, offloads to Al Green, and Bean Al Green puts it away. The Falcons 45, Bullets 62. Heel back to Loggins. Simon Curl. Curl takes the shot. Loggins picks it up. Great play, Leroy Loggins. Andre Moore from outside. Kuiper struggling hard. The big man goes down.
Shane Hill just stepped on the sideline then. Referee right on the spot to see it, but that was good hustle from the Brisbane Bullets. They weren't hitting their shots, but they were certainly chasing after the ball and getting second opportunities, and would have got another one too if Hill hadn't have missed it by, or he didn't miss it, he hit the sideline by the barest of margins. Fairly hard to see from there, a long way off, but he did cross it. Bullets only shooting 47% from the field at the moment to the Falcons 51, but they are just hustling after the ball, getting second opportunities. That's the reason they've got such a lead on the scoreboard.
Sean Dennis. Simon Curl keeping an eye on him. Heels on Al Green. Loggins on Johnston. Green keeping control of the ball. What a great basket by Al Green. Inside the final minute in the second quarter, Brisbane lead by 62. Newcastle Falcons 47. Maurice. Now Heel. Being dynamic form tonight. Shooting the lights out here at Boondall, Shane Heel. Loggins. Reese. Pearl. Back to Loggins. Finds Branch. The basket won't count from Adrian Branch.
You look at the referees as soon as those fouls are called and you see them move their hands in front of them to negate the score. They immediately say it doesn't count. Then indicates it once again. You watch Branch just trying to move in there. There's no position from Turner. Contact around about the shoulder region, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Branch makes the first of the free throws. I just wonder how bad his back is, because he's spent a lot of time out there so far this quarter. It's been a big effort by Adrian Branch to stay on court. A big scoring game here at Boondall. The Falcons against the Bullets. You're on the wrong side of the scoreboard at the moment, Newcastle. Tough call against Newcastle.
Well, again, an example there of what we saw at the beginning of the program. Another charge foul. And Leroy Loggins getting good position then. As we watch once again, you can see Loggins going for the ball, then has position. He just has to be there a moment before the player gets there. And if the player then hits him and disadvantages him, then that's a charge. And it's a split-second call, as we've said before, but it was a charge.
The shots with a lot of authority out there tonight. Big ball Reese. Branch. Elbows flailing away inside from Kruger. I think Branch caught one in the jaw. We mentioned before, Kruger is an enforcer.
Well, a little bit of an experience there from Grant Kruger, though, because with 3.6 seconds left on the clock, it now gives Brisbane a chance to put off one more shot.
Hill offloaded to Simon Curl. Reese jams it home.
That's exactly when we went. 3.6 seconds, enough time for Shane Hill to have a shot, for Curl to get the rebound, put it up, and for Paul Rees to go and slam it in there at the end. And it gives the Bullets another 2 points onto the scoreboard.
And as we all know, those points do come in to be vital at the end of a game, because they're normally in so tight, these matches in the Mitsubishi Challenge this season. Every second counts on the court, as does every point. A very, very fast start by the Brisbane Bullets to this game. A big scoring game. They're up by 66 points to the Newcastle Falcons, 47. And what goes through the head now of the Newcastle and Bullets coaches? They go to the dressing rooms and will go to a break.
And lead with the Bullets leading by 66 to 47 here at halftime at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. And while they warm up, no doubt you're warming up with probably a cup of tea or a cup of coffee back at home. But for our viewers at home, you're not empty-handed in 1992, because we've got some great prizes coming your way on our coverage of the NBL Mitsubishi Challenge.
This week marks the start of the Mitsubishi Dunk of the Month competition. Every month you could win an infrared remote-control Mitsubishi MIDI Hi-Fi sound system by placing the Dunks of the Month in the same order as our judges. And at the end of the season, the first prize is this fantastic Mitsubishi SE Magna wagon. This week's dunk is Mike Mitchell from the match between Gold Coast and Brisbane at Carrara. Next week, we'll choose another dunk. And at the end of the month, put all the dunks in the same order as our judges, and you could be a winner. So don't miss out. Be watching the Mitsubishi Challenge right here on Network 10.
Yeah, some great prizes there. Half-time here at Boondall, but also half-time in the big match in Sydney at the Kingdome, the clash between the Kings and the Wildcats. Let's join our commentary team. There are Bill Woods and Steve Carfino.
Two big rebounders. And Perth make the fairly good lead at the moment for the Kings. It would seem they might consolidate their position up there in the top two. And the Magic really going and giving Adelaide a hard time. They've got to try and get themselves off second bottom on the ladder, Adelaide, at the moment after 6 losses in a row.
Now the big question here at Boondall. Can Newcastle find their way back into this game? It's the third quarter that has troubled Brisbane this season. Loggins goes over the top, and Dozier grabbed the big rebound. Al Green, Everett Stevens, the fast break. Back to Dozier. Now Al Green loses control of the ball momentarily. As did Andre Moore.
So did Andre Moore.
We got a nice big hug from Adrian Branch and said, don't worry about it too much.
Good to see that team spirit going.
Everett Stevens, this man can set the scoreboard alight. Everett Stevens, he's been quiet so far in this game. Michael Johnson, it's closer to the basket. A wayward pass, a costly turnover this could be.
Just looking at the field goal percentages at the moment, the Falcons actually hitting a higher percentage than the Bullets, 51% to 45%. I suppose you might ask, how come they're shooting a higher percentage and yet they're so far behind on the scoreboard? Well, the story in that, the Bullets have had 54 shots up to half-time to only 38 from the Falcons. That's due to the fact that the Falcons have had 13 turnovers to the Bullets 8, and the Bullets have had 13 offensive rebounds to the Falcons 4. So just in those two statistics, there's 14 more shots there were opportunities that the Bullets have got.
Michael Johnson with a bullet-like pass to Paul Kuiper, then put the basket away. The Bullets 66, Newcastle Falcons 49. Now the Bullets swing into attack. Curl minus the loose T-shirt under the singlet. Branch scores.
Well, you notice that Branch going straight at Terry Dozier. Dozier on 3 fouls. They want him to try and commit to play, get in the air and play for the ball on Branch so they can pick up some more fouls on him.
Al Green goes round Andre Moore. Keep the Falcons score clicking over. Now Curl around Johnson. Simon Curl happy with that move.
It was a good move. Simon Curl saw the defence coming across to try and block the shot. Nice elevation on the shot. He shot over the top of the outstretched hand on the layup.
Now Everett Stevens, the Dozier with a big dunk.
Leroy Loggins sheltering himself underneath then. Not too sure whether Dozier or the ball was going to come down on top of him.
17 points split in this game. The Bullets in control at the moment. Still plenty of time for Newcastle. As we've said, they've got the scoring power out there to narrow this gap.
Well, 3-second call. I think it was Andre Moore who was Moore or Branch both working inside to try and jockey into position. In there too long. You're only allowed to be in that keyway for 3 seconds in between shots. So if you're in there, shot must go up from either yourself or a teammate, or you must leave the keyway.
Dozier to Stevens, now to Al Green. Michael Johnson, can he get on a streak? This is a player who, once he starts scoring, can really rattle up the points. Michael Johnson, Brisbane bred. It's been 11 years with Newcastle, Michael Johnson.
I think Everett Stevens, you've got a choice of two. Would be Stevens. Yes, will pick up the foul for reaching in, getting the ball. Contact again occurred. You're allowed to go for the ball or reach in. As you can see, Stevens go in for it, so long as you get ball only. The danger in doing it, of course, is you've got 2 arms to get around at the same time, and quite frequently the contact will also come across the arms.
Instead of the whoosh, it was the ooh that went up from the crowd here at Boondall. Branch has racked up 15 points in this game so far. Can he make it 16? Yes, he can. Paul Kuiper had to fly high for that ball. The big man. A backcourt
Played.
Called here.
Yeah. The referee is saying that you are not allowed to take the ball once in the front court into the back court. However, the Newcastle Falcons had possession, and the call is, did the Bullets get a touch of it before it went into the back court? Even if they did, it was a defensive play. If you're attempting, just get a tip on the ball while you're playing defense and it still goes back there, it doesn't count. So I don't believe that was the right call from the refs there. I think they should have allowed play to go on.
Al Green grabs his own shot back and makes it count. Newcastle come out from the dressing rooms all fired up in this third quarter, the vital third quarter.
Foul there, that wasn't too hard to see. Al Green coming across, a lot of contact across the back on Shane Heal there. Simon Curl, rather. See the drive in, and there's the contact. Very solidly on the back.
The battle is on for the top scoring position in the Brisbane Bullets. Heal and Branch have 16 points apiece. Andre Moore, 15. Sharing the points around. Simon Curl on the free throw line. Curl has 7 points so far in the match. Of course, he missed last week through suspension.
The Falcons there scoring spread mainly amongst Kuiper with 11 points and Green with 17 and Dozier with 12. They're the 3 offensive targets. Most of the others have chipped in with a couple of points in there, but they need really this man with the ball passing now, Michael Johnson, to start getting a hot hand.
Terry Dozier, Kuiper, the big man, he scores and goes into double figures. For the match, he moves to 11 points. Good personal tally by Paul Kuiper. Loggins trying to get around Johnson, goes behind the back but loses the ball. Terry Dozier.
Dozier showing good speed across the court, a big man but very quick as well, beating Simon Curl to the ball then and bringing that gap back to just 11 points. The Bullets not exactly following on with the same sort of offensive intensity or defensive intensity as well that they had in that first and second quarter.
He'll try to push the score out, and he does. What great touch he's in tonight.
See the Bullets still extending the defence.
Everett Stevens. Al Green now. Shane Heal. The Branch moving the ball around to Loggins. Himself free. Andre Moore. Back to Branch for a three-point shot. Loggins, can he tidy up? He does it better than most, Leroy Loggins.
Falling away from the shot and having defence in front of him, plenty of arc. Leroy Loggins just knows the way to that basket.
Green over the top of Heal, sorry. Now Terry Dozier.
Well, Dozier, again, just continuing to hit those boards hard for the Falcons. He's really got a big job in there to go and keep the scoring ticking over for them at the moment, but that's the way to do it. Concentrate on that basket, go up strong, he gets the points, and he also goes to the free throw line. 16 points so far, Terry Dozier.
Terry Dozier averaging 23 points in 1992. He racked up 35 against the Canberra Cannons last week. Really is another danger player in the Newcastle Falcons lineup. Shane Heal. Simon Curl now. That was all net. Simon Curl. They get the lead back out to 12, the Bullets.
And the Bullets now have 5 players in double figures, with Simon Curl getting his 10th point, spreading the scoring around. And we mentioned for the Falcons as well, that's good for the team, because it's very hard to play defence when you've got 5 players out there capable of racking up big points. You must go and really concentrate man-to-man. You can't double team too much.
Simon Curl now has 3 fouls against his name as a timeout is called. The first of this third quarter, with the Bullets up by 12 points over the Newcastle Falcons, who are fighting back. Newcastle Falcons coach Tom Wiseman working away at his team as they've made an impressive start to this third quarter, David Fordham.
They've pegged it back from 19 to 12, and he's backed up on the bench with some tremendous experience, Tom Wiseman, because we've got Dave Ankeny, who is one of the man on the left without the coat, one of the foundation players for the Newcastle Falcons. He played many games with them. He also coached them to the playoffs in a couple of years. And also, John Musgrove, great to see Dennis Kibble up here, one of the great little guards of Australian basketball of the 60s, and to see him at one end of the court and Gordy McLeod at the other. 2 blue Heller dogs in their days, weren't they? And how's the game changed in Australia? Those guys, the real tiny guards of Australian basketball in that era.
Most definitely, and David being there in Newcastle way back in the early days, 79-80. Of course, Newcastle, one of the powerhouses of basketball back there, and little old Broadmeadow Stadiums was one of the highlights for visits for teams. It was one of the biggest stadiums.
It certainly is, as the Falcons claw their way back. The third quarter, the Bullets, it's not their favourite quarter. They do tend to lose their intensity. So it's going to be an enthralling encounter from here on in as Newcastle come back, as Paul Kuiper drives towards the basket.
Adrian Branch called with the foul that we just saw again on replay. His hands seemed to be straight up and down in the air, and he seemed to be trying to keep away from Kuiper as he went through. He knew it wasn't his defensive, or he was in bad defensive position for him as Kuiper misses the first.
Adrian Branch now has 4 fouls against his name. Of course, he can only have 2 more fouls, and he's out of the game. Curl now brings the ball into Moore, number 41. Shane Heal fires off a 3-point attempt. Isn't he on fire? Shane Heal.
4 from 5 3-point attempts tonight. Shane Heal, that's an 80% from beyond the 3-point line. That's an excellent percentage, and that gives him his 21st point.
A big slam from Paul Kuiper. Can that spur his teammates on? The big three-pointers and the slams, they do wonders to lift a team. Now Moore.
Stripped from the ball. Paul Kuiper reached in once again, got contact with the arm as well as the ball. Andre Moore, though, certainly looking a different player to what he has earlier in the season. He is certainly fired up tonight, and he is going inside with a lot of aggression, both on offense and defense. He's really been attacking the boards tonight.
Andre Moore attempting to score his first points of the second half, and he does just that to take his tally along to 16. He can't make the second. Kuiper grabs the rebound. This is Michael Johnson, number 5. Now Dozier.
Talking about the boards, the man that just grabbed the rebound then, Adrian Branch, has 10 rebounds for tonight and 18 points. He really does do it so quietly, doing it with a sore back tonight too, and unobtrusively. Not a real showboat, but boy, he racks up the figures every week.
A familiar sight there, Terry Dozier grabbing a big rebound. Can he get past Branch? He's helped out by Everett Stevens, who's been quiet so far. Offensive rebounds.
Yeah, the Bullets 14 to the Falcons 6. The Falcons grabbing a couple more opportunities in this quarter to go and even things up a bit. But that means the Bullets have had 8 more second chances at the scoreboard than the Falcons have, and most of those they would have converted.
Al Green all by himself under the basket. Back to 13-point split at the moment. The Newcastle Falcons looking dangerous as they come back against Brisbane. Well, one stage slipped out to a 19-point break. Loggins faked for a three-pointer, drove towards the basket. Now Al Green, he's away, it's 3-on-1. Green goes himself.
And that's about where they want to be. 11-point break, three-quarter time coming up. If they can get it under the 10-point margin before three-quarter time, I think they'd be quite comfortable to know that they can have a last shot in that last quarter. As Leroy Loggins goes to the bench, something he hasn't seen, or he's seen quite a bit of in the last couple of weeks. I like the comment actually in the program this week when a fan asked Leroy what it was like sitting on the bench, and he said, "It's funny, mate, I had to ask my guys what to do there."
I think he worried a lot over the last 4 games. Everett Stevens. That's more like the Everett Stevens we've seen in action this year in the NBL. Really can hot up the scoreboard. He's now tagging Shane Heal. Branch looking to set up play, drives towards the basket. Andre Moore, the big offensive rebound, tries again on his 3rd attempt. Good determined play by Moore.
Well, we've emphasised the point a couple of times tonight, but Andre Moore is smiling, and that's a danger for any team that comes to Boondall. Watch him once again in the middle of that crowd in there, going up strong, not worried about the hands or the bodies in there, just going up strong and concentrating on the ring.
David Fordham courtside.
Thanks, Jerry. I think the bonus so far has been for Brian Curl that not only have they been in scintillating form tonight, the Bullets, but the fact that Adrian Branch and Leroy Loggins have obviously shrugged off those injuries. Vital members of the side. John, can you ever remember a former NBA player coming off the bench to start a match in the NBL?
Not my memory, but it's probably not the best. You'd have to go back for quite a while, and once again it'd probably have to be off injury. But I've never really remembered a time either when there've been 4 NBA players together on the court at one time in the NBL.
Such is the standard of the Mitsubishi Challenge this season. 4 NBA players on court here tonight. It really is a treat to watch. Stevens and Dozier for Newcastle, and Moore and Branch for Brisbane.
Well, Kruger picked up for that blocking foul there. That, again, would be a very close call. Certainly looked from the sidelines as if he had position. There's Kruger. He's standing still. The only thing the referees probably called for that was, although he was stationary, he leaned forward and got outside of that normal body stance. And that's what they've called. See the free throw percentage as well. The Bullets shooting 73% from the free throw line tonight. That's a good percentage. You'd like it to be around to that, about that 70-80%, but the Falcons on 57%. Tom Wisman wouldn't be happy with that.
And Simon Curl doesn't miss too often from the free throw line. In 1992, he's shooting 91%, a sensational average. And the week off doesn't seem to have hurt Simon Curl. Al Green now, the screen set by Kruger. Terry Dozier, number 31, goes over the top. Well kept in by Shane Hill to send Adrian Branch on his way down court. Simon Curl, Hill for another three. Surprise, surprise, he missed.
Yeah, but look who's in there rebounding. Man, we mentioned before, has got such a big heart. Luke Gribble. Have a look at the size of him as he walks back through the players. He's around about 4, 5, 6 inches shorter than most of them, but he flew in there for the rebound. And wins the jump ball against a man much taller than him.
And this is him now with the ball, offloading the heel. Moore finds Heel, who has been all over the court tonight, playing as if he's got a point to prove. Number 22, Peter Harvey for the Falcons. He'll go all the way by himself. Harvey, Al Green. The ball seemed to hang up there for an eternity.
The Bullets getting a few open court opportunities, and Shane Hill, unusual to see him miss a layup like that. But one of the things that Coach Brian Curl was saying in the last time out was he wanted the team to have a little more patience, get 6 passes together in their offense and look for the easy shot, something they've got to remember and concentrate on.
Inside the final minute of this third quarter, and the Bullets' lead has been cut back to just 11. The Newcastle Falcons well within striking range now. Simon Curl. Branch will try for 3, and he does it. That'll hurt the Falcons just before three-quarter time.
Sorry, Terry, that's not what they wanted, of course. I would have thought the target was around about 10 before three-quarter time for the Falcons.
They have 10 seconds, and they've blown their chance to score on their trip down court. Andre Moore says, out of my way, and the foul has been called on Kruger.
Yeah, I think, again, Grant Kruger is doing the right thing in defence. He came across, certainly a brave decision to try and take that charge. Watch it once again. Was he there in time? I tell you what, on the replay, although we couldn't see if he was leaning forward, I would have thought he was there, and that was probably a lucky call for Andre Moore. I may thought that it should have gone the other way to the Falcons.
5 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Bullets 92, Newcastle 79. Paul Rees comes on for Adrian Branch. Andre Moore, playing with a great deal of confidence tonight, has chalked up 20 points so far, including 5 in this quarter.
Well, the referee's just discussing what was going on. I think referee Roger Shield had just awarded 2 shots to Andre Moore. He was shooting from a long way out. It would have been 3 shots, in fact, if he had been shooting. Just correcting that, pointing out it was a 1-and-1 situation because Newcastle are over the 4-foul limit. Therefore, every time there is a foul call, while the Bullets have possession of the ball, they will go to the line for 2 opportunities if they hit the first one.
What can Newcastle do with 2 seconds remaining? Sean Dennis asking for the foul. He won't get it. It's the Newcastle Falcons 79, the Brisbane Bullets 94. We're still in for a sensational final quarter. We'll be back with all the action. Welcome back, and young Matthew Birkbeck McDonald's Junior Bullet tonight. He's cheering his side along, and they need some support. They do lead by 13 points. It's a nice handy break to have. But Newcastle, as we've said, have plenty of firepower out there on court, which they haven't used to full effect as yet. And that's the sort of start they would have been looking for, the Falcons. Terry Dozier, a good positive sign to start this final quarter.
Yes, you can't count them off at this stage. Just recently, the third quarter comeback record was reset by the Giants, who came back from memory, I think it was 19 points down to win the game against Hobart. So you know that a team can come back from 19. The Falcons at the moment only 15 behind, 13 at the break. So it certainly is reachable if everything goes their way.
Michael Johnson trying for three. He was short on the shot. Luck hasn't favoured Johnson tonight. Nice move by Andre Moore to get into some open space, only to miss the basket. The Bullets out by 15. Terry Dozier again, with big Andre Moore grabbing the rebound. He's worked very hard tonight, as has this man, Shane Heal. Simon Curl now, and here's Moore, back to Curl, thought about the three-pointer, gets around Turner. The pass to Branch went astray. It'll be the Falcons' ball.
Well, the Bullets have to go and focus their game also back onto that first half defence. They know that they've got the lead. Now they can't afford to go negative or go and get complacent. They've got to work it from defence.
Everett Stevens. He's off the ball tonight, Everett Stevens. Simon Curl takes the shot and hammers it home. Some crucial blows are now being struck by Brisbane.
Some good even scoring by the Bullets. Again, 5 players in double figures, 22 to Branch and 2 more, and 21 to Heal.
Michael Johnson through the centre.
You know Michael Johnson's having an off night when even the layups don't fall for him.
Luke Gribble, can he get through the heavy traffic? Offloads to Heal, and Heal.
Saw some good shooting touch from most of the Bullets. They're feeling, I think, a lot more relaxed. The shooting certainly looks a lot more relaxed. They've got a lead and they're going to play with it, and I don't think they're going to slow down too much, so I want to make sure that they can continue to build the lead. The Falcons, on the other hand, have got to really go and push their defence up very, very hard. Take a few risks now, even if they get some fouls.
The tall Neil Turner gets the ball underneath to Al Green. The veteran. It's up to him now to see if he can inspire the team. Heal takes on Everett Stevens to Simon Curl. Moore trying to find some space inside.
Yeah, called the ball off the hands of Shane Heal, and it's gone to the Falcons.
Let's go courtside to David Fordham.
Thanks, Terry. Well, the good news for the Brisbane Bullets is concerned. I've just spoken with Gordy McLeod, the assistant coach, and often when a player comes back from injury, the problem is cooling down when he's not on the court. Well, Leroy Loggins has been cooling down well and coming back, so we will expect to see him back on the court as this match winds down, but certainly in a very, very handy lead now by the Brisbane Bullets. It's 14, and they at one stage were out to 19.
Everett Stevens eventually hits double figures. He goes to 11 with that three-point shot. They need a lot more than the Falcons. Heal under the basket. He really has been the dominant player out there tonight, Shane Heal, racking up 25 points. Neil Turner, they're going to chance their arm by the look of it, John, the Falcons.
Well, they don't need to panic. They've got to really, as we said, play hard on defence, try and get a couple of steals, certainly go and do what they're doing just there, go and dominate the boards and not give any second opportunities to the Bullets. But they're going to need to be a little bit patient in their offence and not just throw the game away. 8 minutes, a long time on the clock, really, and they're not going to go and do it by suddenly finding shooting touch from beyond three-point range immediately. They need to go and work out to it.
A timeout has been called. The Bullets are up by 102 over the Newcastle Falcons, 86. Welcome back to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. The Bullets holding a comfortable lead, the Newcastle Falcons, with all the work to do. Not an impossible task by any means. Plenty of time left on the clock. Let's check the results from the other matches in the Mitsubishi Challenge. The North Melbourne Giants 91. They look as though they're heading for a win over the Canberra Cannons 75. Other matches, Adelaide 36-62, while the Melbourne Magic streaking away with that match 92. And the Sydney Kings at home, they lead the Perth Wildcats. What a game it's going to be down there, that final quarter, 69-64. And of course, we'll have highlights of that second half at full time in this match.
And that should be a blinder, realising, Steve, that Sydney are really one of the best last quarter teams in the league. The Rollers, another one that liked the pressure in the last quarter, but the Sydney Kings, known as the Cardiac Kids, because of their last second wins.
Gribble now looking to really ram home the advantage here for Brisbane. Nice control by Adrian Branch. He's got all the skills of this man who's lived up to his reputation of coming out here as the most decorated player to ever come to our shores.
Terry Dozier, his fourth foul. He's protected himself pretty well, picked up that third foul before half-time, has managed to go and keep out of foul trouble and still play solid defence. One of the reasons why he was the best defensive player in the league last year, and just accumulating his fourth now.
Branch, who's only had one training session this week, been hampered by a lower back injury, and has 23 points against his name. And I guess, John, Newcastle Falcons are happy he's not fully fit.
Yes, I think it's been really a team effort from the Bullets to get the lead so far, and the Newcastle Falcons, though Michael Johnson picking up one at the moment, really have lost some of their players that they would normally depend on for good scores. Everett Stevens and Michael Johnson, two players having trouble getting touched tonight.
Everett Stevens especially, I mean, he averages 26.4 points per game so far in 1992. And has struggled tonight. This man hasn't, Adrian Branch. A 15-point split to Brisbane. Michael Johnson, he's also been quiet. The ball falls for Paul Kuiper. He's been one of the best for Newcastle, taking his score along to 20 points. Shane Heal over the top. Let's go courtside to David Fordham.
Yeah, it's been a great power shooting performance by the Bullets tonight, and Shane Heal and Adrian Branch, Terry, have now scored more than half of the Bullets total here tonight.
What a great effort by those two players. It's been a big team game by Brisbane. That will be another pleasing aspect. The influence of Leroy Loggins and the fact that Adrian Branch could come off the bench for Brisbane been a huge factor in this game.
It'll make Leroy Loggins feel good should they pick this game up tonight, because while Leroy has been playing fully fit out there, the Brisbane Bullets have a perfect record this season. The games he missed, they lost. So how inspirational and how important is the captain?
And a very important cog in this machine. Shane Heal for three. I think he enjoyed that one more than the others. The big clenched fist. When you're hot, John.
Yeah, 5 from 7 from beyond three-point range. When you're shooting like that, only one message to the team: keep giving it to him, keep him going.
Strong play by Al Green. He's trying hard tonight. Paul Rees, the outlet pass to Branch. It's been a good tussle tonight, Dozier and Branch. Branch getting free. Shane Hill to Simon Curl. He wants a part of the action. Loggins will try for a second time. He never gives up, this man. He's hurt the ankle. Just taking a big leap there, Leroy.
Now remembering he's come off quite a long sit on the bench, so it'll be cool. Probably needs to warm up a little bit too, the ankle.
They're just 5 minutes away from the end of this match. The Brisbane Bullets, what a high-scoring affair it's been. Already they've amassed 112 points over the Newcastle Falcons 96.
See, the game has been physical all the way through and isn't going to slow down at the moment. They weren't going to let Al Green have this shot easy. You're going to get the points, you're going to earn them from the free throw line.
Al Green has 27 points already. Make that 28 points for Al Green. The 35-year-old veteran for Newcastle. Adrian Branch all by himself. You can't allow this man to roam free. Green being double-teamed by Heel and Curl. Now Chris Steele on the court. That's his first shot, and he makes it. And it's his 100th NBL game tonight, so a great milestone for Chris Steele, who hasn't seen much court time so far in 1992.
The Falcons side still maybe sitting off on their defence just a little much at the moment. They really have to go and take those chances we mentioned before if they want to go and bridge what is a rather large gap for this time in the game. They've been unlucky tonight in a couple of instances. We said the shooting form of a couple of players down. Also, their defence has probably lacked a little bit of the intensity we've seen from them during the earlier parts of the season.
It's the Bullets. They're up by 114 to the Newcastle Falcons 99. We'll be back with all the thrilling climax of this game right after this break. Well, just what can the Newcastle Falcons do to bridge this gap with 4 minutes remaining on the clock? There's time there.
Time, but the hands that are hot is what is needed. And, as we mentioned before, Stevens and Johnson particularly well below their season's average tonight. It happens to shooters, happens to all the great players from time to time, but for two of them to go cold on the same night, very hard to overcome that lack of offensive scoring for any team.
Branch for Reese. Now Simon Curl. He gets into the three-point show.
Shane Heel calling the troops in. They want to go and stretch that defence. They're not going to slacken off.
Al Green, been one of the best for the Newcastle Falcons tonight.
Al Green, 30 points really has kept them in the game from the veteran, man who never gives up, hates to lose, and loves the game of basketball.
Maurice, the Loggins. Shane Heel has been on fire from outside that three-point area. He'll try another one. No, he doesn't. Drives towards the basket.
And the foul will go against Peter Harvey.
The foul is called on Peter Harvey.
Watch it once again. You see Peter Harvey coming in there, trying to get across into position, and Shane Heel was going to go and set the place where he thought the lane was going to be filled, realised Heel was going a lot lower and moved across to try and cover that, and that's when the contact occurred.
This will be an important victory for the Brisbane Bullets. They have stopped the rot. They lost 4 games in a row, and now they go on the road for their next 7 out of their next 8 games. A very tough assignment. And John, they do find it hard, all teams, to register wins on the road.
It's always hard to play on the road. It's a foreign stadium. You've got the fans, of course, of the local team against you. Most people expected a 10-point advantage is gained by playing at home. When you realise the number of games in the league lost by 1 or 2 points, you realise that 10 points is quite a big gap. You see the replay once again inside, plenty of attention again being paid. It's a good sign for Coach Brian Curl, though.
Of course, one of our great stars of Queensland sport, John Eales, a Wallaby, a member of the World Cup winning team. And he'll be out at Ballymore tomorrow, David Fordham, playing for Queensland.
Yeah, makes his comeback, Terry, after injuring that shoulder against the World 15. But remembering this time last year, John Eales had not played for Australia. He's since now played 10 tests for 9 wins, including the World Cup final win. So it's been a great 12 months for him, and he's a very, very keen basketball fan. He used to play a lot at Marist Asgrove.
David, I think he stands about 6'7", so he would have been pretty handy in the school team.
You're not wrong.
He's not skinny either.
Now the Newcastle Falcons trying to bridge the gap. What can they do? Paul Kuiper, he's played strong tonight. And Chris Steele. This is 4 points for Chris Steele since he's come on. Shane Hill will try for another 3.
Well, And I think Heel had much balance there. Two players, both Heel and Branch, fighting to keep that ball in the front court, which they do, and the foul called up against Sean Dennis. The Bullets will get the ball back from the sideline. But even at this stage of the game, 1:44 left on the clock, an invincible lead at this stage. Good to see Heel and Branch both hustling in to keep the ball in play.
And we'll take this opportunity to have a short break. The Bullets 119, Newcastle Falcons 105. It's been a good crowd in here at the Boondall tonight. One of the very special guests, Glenys Nunn Kearns. Of course, in 1984, she thrilled us all by winning the gold medal in the heptathlon in LA. What a performance it was, expecting her first child in September. Talking to her earlier in the night, she said she hasn't ruled out coming back to athletics and trying to win a gold medal at the upcoming Commonwealth Games. Now, what can Newcastle do? Neil Turner off to Everett Stevens. Stevens, the shot's just not falling for him tonight. The Bullets 119, Newcastle Falcons 105. And the pleasing thing now for Brisbane, as we watch the replay, is the way they're finishing off the Newcastle Falcons. A very pleasing aspect for coach Brian Curl, not allowing the Falcons to get back into the game. Shane Heel streaks away.
Well, the referee indicating there a carry ball. When you're dribbling the ball, you must dribble it with your palms face down. You're not allowed to pick up or hold the ball, and that's what Shane Heel did. It's a travel.
Referees have found another foul. Everett Stevens go to the line. Adrian Branch has now racked up 5 personal fouls.
So the reaching fouls once again. Going for the ball, but it's all too hard if you're using your hands on defence. Got to use feet on defence. The one converted, 119 to 108.
An impossible lead to peg back for the Newcastle Falcons. But coach Brian Kerr will want his players not to drop off in intensity. He'll want them to finish this game off in fine fashion. They go on the road. It's going to be tough. We're inside the final minute.
Sean Dennis getting over-aggressive there, trying to get at the ball and taking Simon Curl with him. Foul called, a 1-on-1 situation though.
Simon Curl will have to keep his temper down. Already lost 1 game this year through suspension and $600.
You can see Sean Dennis coming up here, going for the ball, realising the time really isn't in their favour. He's got to do something to try and push the pace, but fouling him.
Everett Stevens, number 7, been slightly disappointing tonight. Dennis now. Back to Stevens, who makes the basket. Now the turnover. Stevens, Turner, the tall man.
Big rebound from Andre Moore.
Andre Moore done a great job tonight. So has Shane Heel. It has been a real team effort by Brisbane. Everybody's chipped in and worked away.
You've got to give credit to the Falcons too. They haven't gone and given the game away at any stage. In fact, they've brought the gap back a bit with a couple of turnovers in this last quarter. You can see Shane Heel caught there on the baseline, and Sean Dennis then going and reaching in to get the ball, fouling him and sending Shane Heel down to the other end for the 1-on-1 situation. The Falcons have shown plenty of fight. That's what you would expect for a team that has ended up in the top 8 and looks as though they're going to go and stay there. They're not going to go and count this loss and let the bundle fall at all. This is a team that is showing a lot of spirit this season.
What a performance by Shane Heel. He has 34 points against his name. He has a career best of 37, so this has been one of his better performances. John Musgrove, of course, on fire from the 3-point area.
That's what Shane Heel is playing for the Olympics as well. He knows that it's a tough contest to try and get that back up for Phil Smythe. And the form on the board is what the selectors will be looking for. Certainly his shooting form has been great tonight. Also his defence is getting stronger and stronger all the times. And of course his court leadership. He's kept his Bullets team very much awake tonight by getting the fast break going quickly, getting the ball down the court quickly, which is what the Bullets want.
Loggins missing from the free throw line.
And limping too.
He is limping, but he really is a captain courageous. Been out there, he's inspired the team tonight. Michael Johnson for 3. It's all too late for Newcastle. Michael Johnson hammered it home, but they're going to go down. What a big win for Shane Heal and his Bullets here tonight. They've stopped the rot after losing 4 games in succession. Having a win, a vital one before they go on the road. And all aspects of their game tonight, John Musgrove, were impressive. One of their better performances of the season.
Well, that would certainly give encouragement to Brian Curl, about to face 8 games on the road out of their next 9 games. It's a very, very tough schedule now. They had a good start, and I think... So they'll be much more encouraged now, knowing that they're going on the road with a lot of form on the board after tonight's win.
Plenty of form and plenty of players who chipped in. As we said, a big team effort as the Bullets can salute their crowd on a winning note tonight. And the fans who have come out here in their droves really appreciated a class performance. All the players chipping in. We saw Branch and Heal. They were explosive. Andre Moore, what a game we had from him. The Brisbane Bullets winning 121, Newcastle Falcons 113.
Welcome back to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre at Boondall, and the Brisbane Bullets had waited 4 games before coming back to the winner's circle. And although they probably weren't as impressive in the second half, John, as they were in the first, Brian Curl would be saving that win.
I most definitely would, David. I mean, he's got to go on the road for a very hard schedule now, and the one thing the Bullets have lacked in the last couple of weeks has been that intensity in defence and a little bit of continuity in offence, and he had both of those things tonight with 5 players out there really finding form.
Well, the match stats, the final scoreline saw Brisbane up by 8, but some interesting stats there.
Yeah, well, the field goal percentage, as we explained through the match, again, strangely, 53% for the Falcons, higher than the 47% from the Bullets. But that's accounted in the fact that the rebounds went very heavily in the Bullets' favours, 46-33, particularly the offensive rebounds. And those turnovers really only turned around in the second half. At half-time, the Falcons were giving up about another 5 or 6 opportunities for the Bullets. So the Bullets just had more shots. That's the reason you can lose the field goal percentage and still win the match.
There's some great talent on show out there tonight, though.
Oh, some excellent talent. When you have a look at the fact that you had 4 NBA players out there, as we mentioned before, and some great future players also. When you have a look at Shane Heal, I believe he will be the backup for Phil Smythe in the Olympics, and also Leroy Loggins, of course, possibly a future Australian as well.
Well, I know that Brian Curl hasn't had a lot to smile about in recent weeks. I just wondered, TK, if there's a smile on the big fella's face tonight.
Porto, you've picked it right. Yes, he's odds on to be smiling tonight after 4 losses. You've stopped the rot, Brian.
Yeah, it's good to smile again, I tell you. It's, after 2 losses at home and 4 straight losses, we had a point to prove tonight, and we went out there and played basketball the way it should be played, not for the whole game, but for a majority of it.
You'd be happy because it was a real team effort out there tonight as well.
Yeah, I thought defensively we did a very good job, especially on Stevens and Johnson, the 2 outside shooters. They didn't hurt us at all, and that was the pleasing thing about it. And when we executed offence, well, we looked a real good team.
Nice to have Leroy back, and also Branch with a bad back. I'd hate to see him if he's fully fit.
Well, maybe I'll sit him down a bit more and get him fired up to come out and play. But yeah, Leroy's hurt, and there's no doubt about that. He's only 70-80% right, and Adrian's back's pretty sore as well.
Brian Curl, good luck on the road. The Bullets go on the road now. Now it's back to David Fordham.
Thanks, TK, and yes, victory there to the Brisbane Bullets by 8 points here at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre tonight. We mentioned earlier in the telecast a gripping final, few minutes of the match at the Kingdome in Sydney. It's the big clash between the Kings and the Perth Wildcats. Let's go back to that final action at the closing stages of that match.
Oh, almost. Keogh, he'll tap it over the line. Perth will get the restart with 47 seconds left on the clock. A 7-point game.
Well, the 2 points was handy for Sydney, but without Ricky Grace now, that's his 6th foul. He's out. That's all Sydney now.
Good call, Brent Rees. Torrance tries it for 3. They needed that. Hansen with the rebound. And still